Let's do it.
19.3.
It's here, man.
I love it.
I love it too, and I don't think it's a real surprise to us, right?
No, not at all.
It's a chipper style workout. We had, what was it in week 1? A couplet. A little on the long side. We had a triplet, 3 movements the next week. Long for some people that made it, right?
Yeah.
Through all the breakthroughs and everything. And then this week it's 10 or sub 10, and it's a chipper.
Yeah, short chipper.
Yep.
Relative to chippers we've seen,
exactly.
right? But definitely a chipper. And I love it. So if you think about what comes to mind, we talked about it a little bit, is looking at the .com, right?
Yep.
Just from the new year on.
Yeah.
A lot of strict movements, a lot of fundamentals, a lot of foundational movements, and it's so good. So those of you guys, girls who have been practicing strict handstand push-ups, fantastic. Those of you who have been neglecting it, might be a little tough.
Yeah, this is going to be a hard workout here, right? Honestly, like this is one of those workouts where we notice the load's pretty light, the metabolic distress is relatively low. I mean, those first 2 movements, you're going to get your heart rate up. You want to definitely make haste through those first 2 because there's a tie break there. But after that, and we settle into 50 strict handstand push-ups. If it hasn't been something that you've mastered, worked on, can try to continue to develop, that's where a lot of people are going to get stuck standing still, hoping for the next repetition, shaking our arms out.
Yeah, 100%. So we can just real quick talk about warm-up, right?
Yep.
Obviously, Active Life is going to have something for you. So head over to them, check it out. But it's going to be, I think, pretty simple, right? As always, warm up that aerobic system. You don't want that to be the limiter, especially going into a workout like this. So also, you're going to want to warm up all the movement patterns, right?
Yes.
So some air squats, body weight squats, some lunges. Essentially, try to get something overhead. You can even do some overhead walks with some dumbbells.
Absolutely.
How would you warm up for something like the handstand push-up and the handstand walk?
Specifically for me, I want to create a lot of blood flow to my shoulders. I think there's a lot of value in the opposing, almost kind of stretcher contraction. So I'm going to hang from the pull-up bar. I'm going to do a lot of hanging. I want my lats to feel very loose. If you need to, Sean would preferably kill me for saying this, but if you have those adhesions in your lats and you want to get on a foam roller to kind of elongate those muscles and then hang, I'm a fan of that. To make me feel like I can almost mobilize a little bit of my thoracic spine more, and then I'm going to get into some twisting action and some movement stuff so that way when you do find yourself inverted and you're warming up that handstand position, you feel as though you're truly stacked, right? And I think with the dumbbell, it's even important for those overhead walking lunges. The less you guys feel like you're doing work with that dumbbell over your head, if your elbow's a little soft or it's not far back enough, we want you as locked out and at the end range of your range of motion specifically as possible, so that you're not really making your tricep and your shoulder contribute to stabilizing as much as other people might. You're going to see a lot of people in that overhead position that are like soft here and they're struggling, and guess what? We're smoking these muscle groups, and then all you got is extra handstand push-up effort and then extra handstand walk effort. So definitely I say lats, hang, thoracic spine, and then get ready to get in the best position possible because you want to be efficient.
Yeah, and that brings up an interesting thing. So I think, we've seen some of these movements come up in years past. So the, step up, pretty standard. Even the walk and lunge, overhead walk and lunge, pretty standard. There's nothing really new there in terms of, strategy or, it's just, like you're saying, get in a good position, move efficiently through it.
Yep.
The thing that comes to mind is handstand push-ups, right? So it's the first time that a lot of you are going to be experiencing strict handstand push-ups with a regional standard. And if you want to talk a little bit about your experiences at regionals, at the games, with these strict handstand push-ups, it's different, right? It's a different beast.
It's a very different beast. It's one of those things where you can a lot of times allow the emotion of the situation, allow the intensity, the surroundings of the situation, whether you guys are throwing down with friends or not, or if it's a big event at your gym or not. You got to understand, there's a judge there. There's something on the line. There's skin in the game. You're going to have these emotions that are going to want to call you into doing bigger sets than you're used to. You're going to feel good early, and it's going to be tempting. But the downside is, guys, when these handstand push-ups run out, they're done. So you're going to want to err on the side of breaking them up early and often, keeping the rest minimal, kicking back up and doing short sets, even though I didn't see the opening sets for Alessandra Pacelli and also Lauren Fisher. We noticed they got down to even doing 2s and 3s at a time, but they kept that downtime away from the wall, very minimal, still had an opportunity to get out and have a chance to finish the workout. Standard-wise, the no hips against the wall, the no back against the wall, and only having your heels against the wall, something that you have to continually be mindful of especially when you know you're filming this workout, there's a judge there, you're going to be submitting this for a qualifying score, you can't get any reps taken away. Like a no rep, my biggest piece of advice is no reps are not an option with these handstand push-ups.
Legit, yeah. And I think that, it clearly states that heels are the only things to contact the wall in the beginning and the end of the movement, and obviously through it. So it might take a little bit of time to practice that as a skill in your warm-up. And you definitely want to be that, dialed in with that for sure.
Yeah.
And I think that, the other thing that comes to mind is, and we've talked about it in weeks past, in years past, and it's really should be in the forefront of your mind, is reducing transition times, reducing rest times, right? So if you need to break early and often, right, and get rid of that transition, buy that time back.
Yeah, I agree. And I think one of the key words and aspects for you guys to focus on as athletes is really to remain composed. Because as much as you want to make time in those first two movements, if you allow the emotional state of the environment to get bigger than you and your heart rate's up and then all of a sudden you're a little more gassed than you anticipated when you kick up onto that wall, it's not going to fare you well. It is better to feel as though, this intensity internally for you in your mind is building through the finish of this workout, especially if you know that you're one of those athletes that can cruise through the handstand push-ups and cruise through that handstand walk. It's really important how you finish this workout, and a lot of that's going to be how you treat that first part of the workout. One of the unique things, and we're seeing a variety of this, Nick, what do you think people should be doing with the dumbbell on the step-ups?
Yeah, so on the step-ups, I think that you should hold it at your side.
I agree.
I don't, we talked a little bit about this. You've seen a little bit of it, where folks have it on their shoulder in this like bent position, and that's going to restrict blood flow.
A lot of it.
And you're going to have just load on your arm. You don't want that. So you can have it off to the side. You can switch even, but grip isn't going to really be an issue. So you can also use some of that momentum in the dumbbell to kind of help you up onto that box. So I would really, there's no reason why you shouldn't have it by your side. It would create so many inefficiencies unless you have something unique to your person.
Right, yeah, I agree. And then maybe even switching, tape the thumb and use the hook grip on the dumbbell, right? Like lock it into position, get it there on that position in your leg. I think one thing for you guys to think about with the step-ups is it's a very rhythmic movement if you allow it to be. And what I mean by that is practicing the movement, practice alternating legs between reps in your warm-up and kind of get this cadence. And like, okay, is this sustainable for me? When will I switch? When will I break? And it's almost you treat that specific 50 repetitions like a dance, and it will take less energy away from you. It will bleed less energy that can carry over into the other movements away, and you'll feel a lot better as you conclude the load for the workout and get to the body weight stuff. So I would say, practice enough so that you have a rhythm with those step-ups, and even if it's in your mind, you're thinking up, up, down, down, or whatever that might be internally, but having a mantra or go-to, I think will allow you to accumulate those 50 reps pretty smoothly.
Yeah, I agree. And so I think about what you're kind of getting into, and what we maybe spent a couple of minutes talking about is the goals for different folks, right? So I'd say we can break it up into maybe 3 or 4 different categories, right? If you're hoping to get to the handstand, the strict handstand push-ups, and get 1 or 2, then you can kind of race through the first half.
Right, for sure.
Obviously with taking yourself into consideration, and then, spend the remaining minute or 2 or however long you got trying to get that 1 handstand push-up. That would be a fantastic achievement. Right?
Yeah. What a great way for people who are consider themselves maybe beginning stages of becoming a gymnast or whatever it is. They haven't been inverted before. Maybe you've never done a strict handstand push-up. Get through those first 2 movements like it is the whole workout, and then spend the remaining time actually working on it and trying to get it. You may PR, and that's a lifetime achievement. That's why you sign up for the Open right there.
Yeah, completely, right? And then I think the next set of folks are the folks who are hoping to get through the handstand push-ups, right? That you have 50 in as a capacity, and then it becomes the workout becomes very much about handstand push-ups, right? Yeah. Getting through the first half is not really a big deal. You really have to know, your engine, your limiters. Is it going to be 5 sets of 5? Is it going to be 8 7-5-5s? Is it going to be sets of 2? Is it going to be singles? Like really knowing your body and pacing it out to finish the workout, I think is a fantastic goal. So, spend some time thinking about that. Yeah, and then I think about, some of the, sanctional athletes pushing the games, things
Absolutely.
like that.
Yep.
What are your thoughts there?
Gosh, it's kind of mixed for me because I think there's a couple ways to attack this. I think one, clearly you've got to still respect the first part of the workout, and you got to still get through the handstand push-ups. There are going to be people that can really hammer those things out very quickly. I think one of the biggest temptations is to look at this distance that you have to walk and assume that going unbroken is the only option.
Yep.
That temptation is going to leave you standing a lot at the ends, right? And unless you're like handstand walking is your jam and you love it to death and that's like your opportunity to win a workout, I think what you got to understand is right when you finish those handstand push-ups, you've got to go. And understand that those 5-foot increments are your friend, surprisingly enough, that you can kick down and get back going again and kick down and get back going again. 5 feet is a very small distance when you have the capacity to walk decently on your hands. And so even if you just fall forward, you can kind of get 5 feet, right? So if you got the capacity, guys, don't spend a lot of time resting on the ends. Get a head start and get going. If you got to drop down in the middle and shake the arms out, do it. And then after you guys accumulate a few lengths, what you'll notice, especially if your conditioning is where it should be, you're actually going to be better handstand walking after you get 2 to 3 lengths in than you will immediately coming off the wall for your handstand push-up. So I say trust your fitness, get in that great position, and start sooner maybe before you want to.
Yeah, and actually that's a really good advice that I didn't even think of is just tell yourself don't break at those 25, because I guarantee you if you break in the middle, your sense of urgency is going to be going versus 100%. I got through 25, now I can rest, right? Yep. I think about elite athletes, if we think about some of the top scores in the world, some of the top times, it's really going to come down on who I think is really intelligent pacing into handstand push-ups, right? Everyone's got the handstand walks dialed. The first 2 movements are going to go through, and it's going to come down to the person who understands their engine and knows how to break up their handstand push-ups, right?
Absolutely.
It might be 30-20, it might be 20-20-10, it might be 10-10-10-10, whatever. Whoever spends the least amount of time there, I predict is going to come out on top.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love it. And I think, again, this workout, guys, reflects those people who've been training the right way.
Yep.
We've never seen strict handstand push-ups in the open. This is a first-time movement for us. It might not shock a ton of you because we've done handstand push-ups before, but I think it's like, hey, understand the way that we do in our programming that you got to build the foundation and build the base, and then that's going to allow you to build levels upon your fitness. But if you're ignoring like the stuff that's not so sexy, not so cool, not so fun to post to Instagram, these workouts are going to be where you struggle. So build your base, focus on the basics.
So before we go, Adrian, let's talk a little bit about repeatability. I think that, again, we can think about those subset, those groups, right? If you're in the group where you're trying to get handstand push-up or 2 or just trying to get through them, I think you got, 3 shots at this, depending on how your legs hold up.
Yep.
But, their legs, you can just keep going, and if that's not the limiter, then I'd say even like a Friday, Saturday, Monday, or a Friday, Sunday, Monday, something like that.
Yeah.
If skill is your limiter, you definitely fall into this category.
Right.
If you can get deep into the handstand push-ups, I think things change a little bit, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that it's one of those things where you're not going to feel residual soreness a ton, right? Especially if you're like towards that top level. 50 handstand push-ups strict. If you're mindful of it, you're not going to be fighting against gravity a ton. You're going to try to use that eccentric to help the next repetition above. So you get through those 50, you start going through that 200-foot handstand walk. You're going to start to feel residual fatigue though, right? Like, so the next day, you might feel like, oh man, I could probably do this again. Then when you get 35 handstand push-ups into the workout, you run into this wall where it's like, okay, maybe I shouldn't have done that back to back. So while I do agree, I think the repeatability is still high. I think you fit athletes have an opportunity to maybe make a decision here. And I said this on our live for a quick moment, but like maybe you just need to spend tomorrow, instead of attacking the workout, do a little training and do 50 strict handstand push-ups for time.
Yeah.
And do them in big sets and see how you respond, see what your time is. And then for the workout, when you do it, maybe it's Sunday, maybe it's Monday, maybe it's Saturday, you have a little bit of a baseline time that you're playing with. So, okay, hey, I decided I did 5 sets of 10. That worked really well. I only needed to rest 10 seconds. Understand in the workout, though, it's going to be a little bit under metabolic duress. You've done some lunges, you've done some overhead position stuff. So I think there's an opportunity for a little bit of practice or just straight up repeatability. I think it's there, though.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I think, especially with it being so competitive, you have top athletes repeating it, which we haven't seen in years past.
Right.
The one thing not to neglect, we haven't really touched on nutrition too much in the weeks past, but the one thing is muscle endurance, fatigue, things like that is tied directly to your muscles' glycogen stores.
There you go.
So carbohydrates is going to be your biggest friend. It usually takes about 24 hours to replenish. So keep that in mind if you're going to repeat within the 24 hours. Not recommended, but even if you're looking 48 hours, 2 days out,
Yeah.
you got to top those stores out.
Right, absolutely. I love it.
Yeah, there you go.